Khloe Kardashian and Scott Disick respond to speculation about her being pregnant with his child. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Khloe Kardashian and Scott Disick have known each other for a very long time. They have such a close friendship that many people think there's more going on between them. Some people even believe that something romantic has happened between them, but both Khloe and Scott have said that these stories are not true. They recently talked about one of the biggest and most surprising rumors involving them. This happened during the very first episode of Khloe Kardashian's new podcast called Khloe in Wonderland. On the show, she invited Scott Disick as her guest, and they decided to talk about some of the rumors people have spread about them over the years. One of the most shocking rumors they talked about was the one where people claimed that Scott got Khloe pregnant. This rumor has been around for years, and it came up many times in the past. During the podcast, Scott shared how even his own parents used to hear about it and ask him about it. He said that his late parents, Jeffrey and Bonnie Disick, would often call him when they saw stories in magazines or online. Scott remembered them asking, "Did you really get Khloe pregnant?" He jokingly responded to his dad, saying, "Yes, Dad, I got Khloe pregnant." His father would just accept it, even though it wasn't true. Scott laughed while sharing this memory, making it clear that he was being sarcastic when he answered his dad like that. Khloe quickly made sure to clear things up before people misunderstood what Scott was saying. She firmly said, "You never got me pregnant." She wanted to stop the rumor right there and make it clear to everyone that nothing like that ever happened between them. Scott went on to talk about how, back in the day, there were always wild stories in the news about the Kardashian sisters. He said it felt like every week there was a new rumor about him being involved with one of the sisters. According to him, the gossip was so crazy that it was like every week he was being accused of getting a different sister pregnant. He joked and asked, "Where are all the kids then?" He pointed out how none of those stories turned out to be true, and there were no babies to prove them. Even though all that happened many years ago, Khloe said that people still bring it up today. She explained that when she asked her fans on social media who they wanted to see as a guest on her podcast, Scott was the most requested person. A lot of fans really wanted to hear from him. But what surprised her the most was that people kept asking the same questions about their relationship. She said that two questions came up the most. The first one was whether she and Scott had ever been together in a romantic way. She found it funny that people still wondered about that. When she brought it up during the podcast, Scott played along with a joke, saying, "Yes, in a funny way." But Khloe quickly corrected the joke and said, "No, we haven't." She made sure to tell the truth so that people wouldn't get the wrong idea. She also mentioned the second most popular question she got from fans, which was, "Why aren't you and Scott married?" That question surprised both of them, and they both laughed at how people could think such things just because they have a close friendship. Khloe and Scott then talked about how these kinds of stories start. Scott said he didn't believe there was any truth to the rumors, but he understands how people might jump to conclusions. He explained that if people see two people getting along well or spending time together, they automatically assume there's something romantic happening. He said that's just how gossip works. People look at a situation, make up something that sounds exciting, and then others start believing it. Scott said that even though he and Khloe are very close, he finds it strange that anyone would think they are more than friends. He was very clear that their relationship is not romantic and that the idea of them being together is just not true. He said that people believing such stories is completely crazy. In his words, "Bro, I have children with her sister." That was his way of saying that it wouldn't make sense for him to be with Khloe when he has such a deep history with her sister Kourtney. He continued by saying that even though he sometimes says things that sound a bit silly or over the top, that's just his personality. He likes to joke around and not take things too seriously. But even with his sense of humor, he said that people thinking he's in a romantic relationship with Khloe is just wild. He called it psychotic to believe something like that. Even though Scott is no longer in a romantic relationship with any of the Kardashian sisters, especially Kourtney, he and Kourtney still have a strong connection when it comes to raising their kids. They have 3 children together. Mason, who is 14, Penelope, who is 12, and Rain, who is 9. Even though they broke up in 2015 after being together for nearly 10 years, they have stayed connected through their children. Scott and Kourtney work well together when it comes to parenting, and they continue to be an example of how former partners can still raise children together in a healthy and loving way. Scott and Khloe both wanted to make it very clear during the podcast that their friendship is strong, but there is nothing romantic going on between them. They understand why people might wonder, especially because of how close they seem on screen and on social media. But they also want people to understand that not all close relationships between a man and a woman mean something romantic is happening. Sometimes people are just good friends. Over the years, Scott has become like a brother to Khloe. He's part of the Kardashian family, and he's been involved in their lives for a long time. Because of that, he and Khloe have shared many moments together, both happy and difficult. Their bond is real, but it's built on friendship, trust, and support, not romance. They've supported each other through hard times, including family problems, public criticism, and personal challenges. People who watch the Kardashian shows have seen how close Khloe and Scott are. They've seen them laugh together, have fun together, and even have deep conversations. But what viewers should understand is that these things can happen between friends too. Being able to talk to someone, joke with them, and be honest doesn't always mean you are dating or in love with that person. Scott also mentioned that people have linked him with other members of the Kardashian family, like Kendall Jenner. He said that this also has no truth. Just because people see pictures or videos of him spending time with Kendall or any other family member, it doesn't mean anything more than family and friendship. He said people are too quick to make up stories without knowing the full picture. Scott's sense of humor might sometimes confuse people. He jokes a lot, and sometimes his jokes can sound a little too real. But he made it clear that deep down, he knows the difference between joking and real life. He respects Khloe and her family and would never cross the line. He also said that while he might say silly things, they should not be taken seriously. He wants people to understand that being funny doesn't mean he means everything he says in that way. Khloe also wanted people to know that she values her friendship with Scott very much. She appreciates having someone like him in her life, someone who has known her for so long and who understands what she's gone through. She said that the reason people love to see Scott on her podcast is because they enjoy seeing the real side of their friendship. They know how to joke, laugh, and be real, and that's what fans enjoy. She also said that it's funny how people continue to ask the same questions about them. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.